Well, we're getting ready to experience a unique time in history. Over the course of the next 10 to 20 years, the baby boomer generation will pass away. The baby boomer generation in the United States of America represents a group of people that are pretty much, I would say, age 60 to age 80 currently. And when they were born, it was a period of history where the United States birth rate was going up. There was more people being born. The middle class was growing. It was a growth spurt in the history of the United States of America. And during that period, people worked, they got pensions, they obtained property, and over time, their assets, their property, and their investments have grown. It was one of the generations in American history where wealth was generated at a higher level than normal in the middle class, and thus the reason for a level of growth. So now that they are close to life expectancy in the next 10 to 20 years, most baby boomers will pass away. Their assets, their property and the money they have saved up, it will be inherited by their children. And it has been documented that their children and generations to follow the baby boomers, the birth rates are down, the workforce participation is down, and many people now who have less children, less liability, who may already not even be in the workforce are going to get more money. That's going to create an environment where you have even less of a reason to work, you have less of a reason to be innovative, and no matter how you cut the pie, the more money you have, the less ambitious you are. There is something to be said for the eye of the tiger comes from a place of hunger, or, yeah, it does. It comes from a place of hunger, desperation. Innovation happens, when your back is against the wall a little bit. But certainly, you don't want to be in that position forever. But I say all that to say, it's my belief that the government and powers to be in America and throughout the world, they know that this is happening. They estimate, I think, $69 trillion will transfer from the baby boomer generation to the following generation. And I think that's the reason why we are in a period of hyperinflation. Inflation, the cost of goods and services going up, is a little bit of a tax on people because the system kind of realizes that we may be in a period where you almost have to drain a little bit of the money. Now, I guess it's a give and take, right? Because in hyperinflation, if you inherit property, that property value is high, and even if you cash out, you get a lot of money. But I think that eventually, right now, they're allowing it until the full transfer of wealth goes to the next generation. And then I think you will have a period like you did in the 1970s, maybe, where interest rates are very high and you have to take money out of the system. Inflation is an interesting thing. In one instance, it takes money out of your pocket because you're paying more for things. And even if your property value is going up, you're paying more in taxes. And if you sell your property, what are you going to do? Now, if you inherit property and you already have a property, then you're just going to cash out and have extra money. So, it's an interesting period to see how America and the world will handle it. I think that America and the world are realizing that, look, things are better than they ever been, okay? Because you'd rather be born in 2021 than 1921. In 1921, there were very little jobs, and they paid very low. In 2021, there's very many jobs. Most people don't want to work them. And even if you're not working, you have more government assistance than you did in 1921. There's less desperation in the system in 2021 than there was in 1921. There's more equality. There's more money. There's more opportunity. So inflation is a weird thing. It's like the Federal Reserve keeps the interest rates low, house prices and house prices and the stock market go up. Goods and services go up. Now, part of this too is with the coronavirus, with inflation, global supply chains got cut off. Workers were not working in production lines, and now that the global economy is reopening, some people are not going back to work, some people are retiring. Like every major event in life, it makes people reset and rethink about life. So look, computers, robots, automation, they're all slowly and quickly in one sense. They're both, change happens one sense slowly, in the other sense you're going to wake up and there's going to be self-driving cars. We already see, checkout lines where cashiers are eliminated more and more. You see automation of things. Okay. And so, whether we keep hyperinflation or whether we'll go to an extreme level of deflation, this video, there's not exact science to that. And I think the governments are still figuring that out. Because if you create a society where everyone has money and no one wants to work, and if there aren't enough robots or automated systems to do the job, then nothing happens. Who's going to be your nurse? How are you going to fill up gas? How are you going to have electricity? How are you going to have plumbing? Who's going to be your caretaker? No one do anything? It would be interesting. So, and I think that's where the powers to be are struggling on the next generations to come, is that it's a good thing that you don't have mass people desperate, because that's when you have a revolution. And if you're really a smart leader, why would you want a revolution? Why would you want people getting so upset? You wouldn't. Why? Because look, then it jeopardizes your thing. If you're really an elitist, keep people happy, at least to a certain level. Why? Because that's going to keep you good. So it's just basic human nature. So I think a lot of times people misconstrue that, but my thoughts are that, it's an interesting time, okay, where, a lot of people are going to get an inheritance and they're already not working and they're not going to have to work. And there's already workers dropping out of the system. There's already slower birth rates. Elon Musk says the greatest threat to humanity is that we basically stop producing and we self-inflict depopulation. However, Elon Musk has, he has a few kids, 3-4 kids, and he's got 3 divorces. So I don't want to have a society where you just have kids and you don't get along with your family. So I disagree with him in that aspect, but I understand what he's saying. Statistically, there will eventually just be less people. Okay, and how societies deal with that, whether inflation is the answer or deflation, suck money out of the system or make you pay more because you have more. Believe me, if people, as much as inflation is there, if people couldn't afford to pay and things weren't getting sold, then the prices would not remain high. Okay, so, again, it's weird, so, but I would just say again, the point is to reference in your mind is we're in a transitional state in human history, in America and in many other countries. It's a very similar time period. And so the good news is, if you're able and willing to work, there should be opportunity abundance more than a decade or century ago. The good news is, if you don't like to work and you're going to get money, that's what you want. But the bad news is, if you're on government assistance, getting an inheritance could change your government assistance status. And that's something that you're going to have to navigate the system. So it'll be interesting to see the future. But people probably said the same thing in 1970 when they were protesting the Vietnam War, and interest rates were high. So, and like I said, guys, in relative terms, things are very peaceful, relatively speaking, throughout human history, if you consider this time period. So either way, it's just something to think about, okay? Not to mind F, Because, focus on what you can control, which is living below your means, finding your passion, staying productive, staying healthy, etc. And, these are just some observations that I wanted to share. Hopefully they help. If they do, click that thumbs up. You want to support the channel, click the blue join button. And share the video. Check out free playlists, guys. No inflation on those. Everything's free. And see you next video. Peace.